gets himself a technical fall. So Mountaineers up 5-0.
Pablo Castro for Kent State against Davin Rhoads. Rhoads didn't wrestle last week at the Southeastern Open, so this is his season debut. Pablo Castro went 5-0, won last weekend at the Clarion Open to take 6th place.
So not quite the intensity from the last match, right? And
not early on. It seemed like they
right?
had a scrap in the first maybe 5-10 seconds.
Well, Strickenberger was on the attack pretty consistently. Went after the leg within the first 20 seconds or so. Put himself in good position for that. And and again, you know, from when you're looking at it wrestling-wise, when you're watching, I don't know, the guys who are winning national titles and being All-Americans, they don't spend a lot of time standing straight in front of people. They do a pretty good job of trying to work to a corner, trying to work your head, trying to keep you out of position, trying to work to get to their own positions, and working at scoring points and staying relatively offensive most of the time, which is not easy. Look, the guy doesn't want you to do that. And so that's why the gaps, the differences between, the difference between making the lineup and not.
Yeah.
The difference between being under 500 versus being 500 versus over 500 versus getting yourself an opportunity to potentially make the national tournament and maybe even be on the podium is really not the big difference that you think that it is. It's little tiny things when you put them all together.
Castro gets the first takedown of the match. Rhoads trying to turn back inside.
He was trying to squeak out an escape there on the boundary. Wasn't quite able to do it.
Davin Rhoads, a redshirt sophomore, 7-13 all-time as a Mountaineer. Again, this is his 2023 debut.
Improve here. Improve. 1 green.
So one of the things that's going to change a lot, I think, is they're not going to give that top guy a lot of time to stand around out there and do very much. The emphasis is on trying to turn people or let them go, and which I think is a good thing. You get so tired of it's kind of boring actually when you're watching people ride and they were just sort of near arm, tight waist, keep blocking your inside elbow and knock it out of the way and hook the close ankle. And
the minds got together and said, you know, we've got a good product. Let's just have some more offense to it.
Exactly. And I think working to turn somebody versus just riding is a good change.
With the great Elvis Presley, a little less conversation, a little more action.
I think Elvis was talking about something very different, but I agree with you.
Elvis often talked about a lot of different things. Castro and Davin Rhoads, both of these guys Ohio natives. Castro, a two-time runner-up in high school, a state runner-up. Rhoads, a two-time individual state champion in high school. He wrestled in 13 matches last year for West Virginia. Posted a 2-11 record a year ago. Head coach Tim Flynn looks on. High on Rhoads, wants to see him stay healthy and wants to see the work pay off.
Well, and so does Davin Rhoads. I mean, this sport is challenging. You put a lot of work in. It's a lot of literally blood, sweat, and tears. And you'd like to see that start to move into getting yourself in better position and wins. Like right now, he's going to struggle being flat on his belly like that. He's sort of trying to block out.
Right now, Castro's got the advantage, and he's about to eclipse 1 minute in riding time.
So he's got both legs in. He's going to stretch Rhoads out and try to roll that half, that power half on that side. And, you know, being on the bottom right there is not a lot of fun. You get pretty beat up. You get stretched out. It's hard to breathe. And you get worried about your arms getting ripped off.
I'm not a mathematician, Tony. This is how I think the three-point takedown is going to get interesting. You look at a match like this, you're at a 2-point difference on the scoreboard. The riding time point makes it 4-1 essentially. So if you're Rhoads, you get an escape and a takedown, you win.
That's a possibility, right? I mean, but you've got...
I feel like you could be down like this and be more in the match than maybe you felt like you were last year.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. That's one of the ways of looking at it. I guess, you know, the point differentials, takedowns versus not, when you're matching it up, you know, both guys get a takedown. It's still either, they both got 3 points. But the other part of that is, I think, is knowing that when you're down by 2, you still got a chance to win. Or if you're down by 3, you got a chance to tie.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody likes to think that they're in the game mentally, but there are always those times where, I mean, these are smart guys. They look at the scoreboard and they know what's what. They know how things are going in the match. But you know, if you roll over, you see that the pylon right now, you could say, hey, I'm more in this than I thought. You never know.
I think
maybe some motivation to win that moment.
I think when you're developing the mindset that's what you're doing all the time anyway, right? As I'm working to improve my position, I'm working to score, I'm working to do a number of different things that keeps helping me win different battles here and there, and when I do that enough, I'm going to score. Rhoads trying to turn in. He's going to get himself an escape here.
At the buzzer.
Maybe they give him the escape. I don't know. They're going to confer. He didn't really signal one.
No, he didn't.
He didn't signal one. I don't know if they signal. They're going to go take a look.
I thought it happened because you and I, from where we're sitting, we have a really good view of the clock. I thought it happened before. We'll take a look.
So he turns in right here, and then bang. There's that temporary separation, but then he tries to front headlock him, and the question is whether they award him that,
well, that's what I was going to ask
escape point there.
At what point, how escaped does he have to be, I guess I'll say, to get that point?
Well, in that particular situation, that's pretty close. I mean, he does break control for a moment, and they are facing one another. And then because he's on his knees, the guy jumps on and front headlocks him.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is, like in basketball, when the shot is off your fingers, if that happens before the light goes on, then the shot's good. Where's that point in wrestling? Is it when you your feet? Is it when they?
As soon as you break some separation, where you're demonstrating that you're free, he did that, but only momentarily. And the question is whether, in the official's mind, that was enough time to determine that it's an escape.
Tricky for Castro too, because he's probably sensing the end of the round, the end of the period. And at what point are you letting go because you think it's the whistle? You think it's the end of the period.
You don't. Not until that guy blows a whistle.
Right. It's literally wrestling through the whistle.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. It's definitely wrestling through the whistle. You know, through the whistle, right?
To make sure you don't give up that escape point.
And
it is an escape point. So they give the escape point to Davin Rhoads. Castro couldn't believe it. Castro has this look of just stupefaction on his face.
So, as with everything, the only opinion that really matters is that of the official.
I'm told replay don't lie, though.
No, I thought he was out, but the question is whether or not he was going to call it that way.
So go to the third. Remember, with a riding time point already secured, there's a...
Well, it's not.
Well, no, it's not quite secured yet, but right now
he's got to spend some time on top. But he's going to get called for stalling here if he doesn't start to do something.
Yeah, Castro's lead is in essence 4-2
at the moment. Yeah, so he's going to have to ride him for another almost minute, and there's only a minute 30 left in the match. So the question is whether it's better to let him up and see if you can take him down, unless you think you can turn him. Because by the time
a lot of torque on that right arm for Rhoads, it looks like he's trying to turn him by the waist and just not finding the leverage.
Tight waist, but Castro does a nice job of sort of posting the leg, but also not getting his head too close to his knee.
Yeah, that outside leg is firm for Castro.
And Granby roll, and he catches his ankle, and he's going to get himself a reversal. So Rhoads, again, I'm not real sure what the game plan was there. I know he's trying to maybe try to get some, knock the riding time off, and then maybe look at some. But now now he's in some significant trouble.
Coming up on 30 seconds left. An escape and a takedown ties it for Davin Rhoads.
Yeah, but, you know, you got to get the escape first, and right now he's getting buried on the bottom, which he spent most of this match just getting buried down there. Castro's done a great job on top of just driving his feet back, keeping his hips tight. And Rhoads has had no answer for that whatsoever.
Final 10 seconds. Pablo Castro, the sophomore out of Brecksville, Ohio, is about to knock off Davin Rhoads, much to the delight of the Kent State crowd, the Kent State bench. Pablo Castro picks up the W today over Davin Rhoads in the Coliseum debut. The 141s, we talked about them in the open. They're next on ESPN+.